Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our subject today was kind of throwing me a little bit. I was having a hard time getting down into the right word to use to communicate kind of what I was feeling. There's, a lot of times our direction is clouded because we don't have all the information. And it's just like that moment when you finally have all the information and you can see exactly the direction that you need to go. It's such a powerful place to be. And I'm using the word decisiveness to describe that, but can kind of go into our private silent meditation with that just being in that space of, now we know. I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds, and we're going to do a private silent meditation on gratitude for decisiveness, and just write down all the things that come to you during this 90 seconds, and then we'll share afterwards. So 90-second private silent meditation, gratitude for decisiveness. Begin. Wow, that was a fast 90 seconds. I can't believe that's already done. Day before yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday morning, I can't remember, sent an email in response to somebody who had sent me an email, and they were questioning some of my actions and things that I was doing. And I sent an email back to them, and I said at the very beginning, I said, I'm not going to censor anything. I'm just going to basically share from my perspective everything, the reason that I made these choices and things like that. And somebody that's super close to me, and I got blasted this morning with like a response to almost every sentence that I sent. The email was super long. And I'm sure anyone who has received a super long email, especially where it's responding to every single individual sentence, it can't be good. And it wasn't. It was very, I won't even, describe the feeling of it. But basically, this I was kind of in this moment of total clarity, because I had said my piece, they had said their piece, and basically I'm looking at it as I apparently don't know you at all, because what I had sent I thought was open communication to be able to heal the situation, and the response that came back was completely different than what I expected. And so it's like, obviously I don't know you, and I can tell from your responses and the things that you're, basically blaming me for, you don't know me either. So we don't know each other. And the way that the email came across, it's like, there's absolutely no way that I could even respond to it or, defend myself at all, because it won't be accepted. So, basically it's like, awesome. Thank you. I'm super grateful for the open communication. I've shared my perspective. You've shared your perspective. And now we get to both make decisions based on what we know. And it's just such a beautiful place to be, to have that clarity. Who else has something they'd like to share?
I'll share something.
Thanks, Phil.
The first thing that came to my mind is going out to eat with my kids and then saying, okay, where do you want to eat? And like, all of a sudden there's like opinions and then people shooting other people down, and like, I don't want to go there. I don't hate that place, but it always works better when I show up and I'm like, this is what we're doing and this is where we're going. And you can opt in or out if you want, but this is what we're doing. And so leadership is really, important, like to actually make a decision and not just always have the option open. I mean, it's okay to be flexible, but to have a plan in mind whenever you start out. So that was what came to my mind.
Awesome. I love that. I know with kids, I remember when my kids were little, if you just like opened up the closet and said, what do you want to wear? A lot of times they wouldn't know, it's like too many choices. But if you hold two in front of them and say, do you want to wear this or this? Then they can pick really quickly. You can get dressed, you can get out the door, and it's not a big deal. So, actually kind of narrowing down the choices to begin with is a really good thing to get decisions made fast. And also leadership, when there are lots of opinions, like if you're on a board or, in a committee where there's lots of opinions, it's still really good to have a leader to be able to kind of narrow down those opinions and finally get a choice that everybody can agree on. Thank you. Who else?
I'll share, even though mine might not be.
Yours is perfect.
Well, I was thinking how fun that moment is when all of a sudden it's clear. Like that feels so good, and it's such a relief to just know. And so that was kind of brought up some stuff for me because my husband lost his job at the beginning of all of this mess. And we've been trying to find a new job, and we've been trying to figure out where we want to go or what we want to do. And living in this unclarity is really hard. And so I was just thinking, well, maybe I'm grateful for those moments where we wait for the moment to be right, where we are still waiting for that clarity, but we can trust that it's coming. And I don't know. So I'm trying to be grateful for that.
I love that. And, every once in a while, our lives get shaken upside down. And I kind of see that as like a snow globe, where everything is just like falling down. You're like, all these pieces. And, everything's just kind of like, feels like it's breaking up. But at the same time, as that snow globe is, all those little pieces are falling down, you see so many other pieces where there was security and safety in what was. Now that's not there anymore. And so you start opening up, like you said, kind of looking, trying to find what's next. And so it's like you take your focus off of what was long enough to be able to see some different options. And I know that there is going to be a moment when you're like, that's it. And things will settle back down again. And then every once in a while, we get to shake it up so we can take our focus off of that and see what's next. Thanks, Sybil. I'm sure there are other people who are experiencing that as well. Who else?
You know how
Tyree?
how Tony Robbins talks about burning the boat, deciding is cutting off all other options. And I was just thinking about how sometimes I think that I have totally decided, but then when it really comes down to it, I haven't. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn to be more decisive and the growth that I gain in that process.
Beautiful. I had the thought as you were talking about burning the boats. I think it was Magellan who, when he was exploring, he sailed to this new land, and then he commanded his crew to burn the boats because they were just going to go forward. There was, that was they had decided this is the place that we're going to go, and we are not, no matter what we find, we're going forward. And but I feel like there can be a counterfeit to that. There's definitely something that, that's a really good thing to do when you have that confirmation, that spiritual confirmation, and you are like absolutely certain because you've received that spiritual confirmation of what your path is and your purpose and your mission. Is like, we are not going back. This is my path. This is my path. And there's a counterfeit to that where it's like we choose a path and it's like, that's what I want. And I'm burning my boats. I am putting, all my efforts into this and all my eggs into this basket. And we're just going to go forward. And it's like you force it. That can be one of the hardest, the most discouraging struggles that you ever would have in your life. And on the other hand, if you have that spiritual confirmation, you make that commitment never to go back. It doesn't matter what happens. You just continue forward, and you can release any of the poison darts that are being thrown out from the natives, or, wild rivers that you have to traverse, or whatever comes. It's your purpose and your mission is bigger than any of those obstacles. And so it still is an easy path in comparison to making the choice and not letting yourself make any other choices. Who else? Let's get maybe one more share. All right, well, let's go ahead and shift over into our permission process. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Thanks for everything that has been shared. I feel like we've created a really open space for all things to be known, and be really open to seeing all those pieces that maybe we hadn't noticed before. Finding the gratitude within the situation. Seeing that really being in the unknown and having all options, maybe not having all the information, is really a beautiful place to be, because it's a place of discovery. And basically everything is open to us. Everything is possible. All options are on the table. Take one more deep breath. And just open your mind and heart, and for this moment, allow yourself to trust that you have the ability to know all things that are relevant to possibly a decision that you're needing to make or a path that you're wanting to take. Just allow yourself to believe in this moment that you have access to all the information and that you are capable of making the best decision possible once you have all the information. And just each one of us individually within our own lives, there is a choice that needs to be made, or a subject or a situation that maybe you haven't had all the information. There's been a little bit of uncertainty, and just allow yourself to go there right now and just sit in the uncertainty, sit in the unknown, and be completely open to allow all of the new information to flow to you. And just ask that question, what do I need to know to be completely clear and make a decision that will feel right to me? And now that you are aware of what you need to know, listen also for any limiting beliefs that might be coming up. And as you're becoming more aware of that, those limiting beliefs, what is the cost of having those limiting beliefs? What outcome will it produce if you hold on to it? And if you don't like that cost, you can give yourself permission to choose a different belief. So if you're willing to give yourself permission to choose a different belief, say yes.
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 Awesome. And go ahead and choose some new beliefs. What are 2 or 3 new beliefs that will replace that old limiting belief and will allow you to move forward on this new information that you've just received? Take that in and to allow that to help you make your decision on what's your next step, what your path is, all of that. What are some new beliefs that will give you permission to step forward and very decisively move forward on your path? Take one more deep breath and just allow those new beliefs to calm you, to give you the confidence and the courage that you need to step forward with this new information that you've received. And what is the one most important thing that you could do today that would really anchor in this new information, help you kind of test it out, and also to give you proof of these new beliefs, the truth of these new beliefs? What's your inspired shortcut today that will give you evidence of the truth of these new beliefs? In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. I just want to also offer to meet with any of you for 15 minutes if you are struggling in any way, if you're still having a hard time seeing those pieces of information that you've been lacking, or maybe now that you have the new information, maybe you've got some fears still that are really stopping you from moving forward with this information. So whatever it is that you are needing help and support with, I would love to help you with that. And all you have to do is go to askwylene.com. That will take you directly to my calendar and you can schedule a 15-minute call. It's a free call, and I promise you that that 15 minutes will change your life. Askwylene.com. I want to share my experience. I'm getting emotional. This person who sent the email is my daughter, and I have been walking on eggshells for the past year because I have wanted to maintain a relationship with her and just been afraid of saying too much but really feeling inside that there was definitely, some stuff going on that I wasn't completely aware of. And I just didn't feel like I had enough information to be able to know what was the best way to move forward in our relationship. And so this email that I had received from her and that I responded to very openly and didn't censor anything, her response back to me this morning gave me very, very clear communication of how she felt about me and some of the choices that I've made in the past. And she's wrong, but she is not open. From the email, it doesn't feel like she's open to my opinion. And so I really was unclear of what to do next. And the first thought that came to me is I need to ask her, are you willing to change your opinion? That's really all I need to know. I would not have thought of that question on my own. So I'm really grateful for the inspiration of the question that I get to ask her. And that will absolutely give me the clarity that I need. And then the other thought that came to me, the inspired shortcut, was to call a family meeting to have, to be able to share my thoughts in a very supportive environment with the rest of the family that is aware of some of the things that are going on, but they're not aware of all the things that I received this morning in this email. So I have my next step. I have the question that I get to ask her, and I'm not going to ask it in an email. I'm going to go march up to her house and ask her, and I'll get to know what my next steps are based on that, and be able to decisively move forward. So I'm super grateful for this new information. Who else has something that they would like to share?
Phil.
Go
ahead, Phil.
Kathy, and then Phil, and I think
I'd rather Phil go first. Go Phil.
All right.
Okay.
That's decisive. Thanks, Kathy.
That's very that's right. I kind of have a block here. I'm trying to get to the core belief, but I think the core belief is that there's too many options, and so the belief I have is that if I don't take steps or if I'm not precise, then it means that I'm lazy, and that that it's not going to be good enough, or that it's just going to take too much work. And so the cost is that I just procrastinate and I don't move forward. And so the new belief I have is that I'm powerful, and that all I do, and I just need to take one small step in the direction, or even a half step in the direction. And then and that's also that's my shortcut and my new belief. So
Awesome.
Anyway, that's just,
I think that what you're saying is that if you take a step that or if you don't take a decisive step, like you said, there's a lot of things that means about you if you're not taking a decisive step. But we have to get information before we can take a decisive step. So, taking a half step that's not 100% decisive is just information gathering. And if we can look at it that way, then we can kind of release that judgment about what that means about me. If I'm not ready to make a decisive step yet. I wasn't ready to make a decisive step yet until this information came to me about asking that one question of her. So thank you. Kathy?
So there was a lot that came up for me about my dad and my relationship with my dad, and choices that he's made and choices that I've made. And the decision was just complete faith in love that love conquers all.
Mm.
And the Ho'oponopono was coming up for me a lot. Those 4 phrases of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and that all 3 of the previous phrases to I love you, all 3 of those are a loving response. But just so the decision to have a conversation with my dad, and praying that he's open to, because it feels like that there's some things that he hasn't forgiven me for, or there's just a lot of background that is just can be healed with just enough love.
Beautiful. Thank you. And how wonderful that you're actually embracing that and taking that seriously right now, because, you know, it may not be possible to approach him about that in the future. So thank you. Any other thoughts, last thoughts before we end our call today?
I was just going to say it, that I have a family member that has completely flipped on all of our growing up family values.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been shocking to me. And trying to talk to her is very interesting, because it feels like she was looking for offense. And so listening to your shared today has been so helpful. Just because sometimes I don't even know what to say. I'm like, I don't want to cause contention. And I just, that is such a poignant question. And I'm so grateful for you sharing that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyree. I appreciate that. Any last thoughts before we end our call today?
Oh, I did want to share a few new beliefs as well.
Oh, great.
I recognize truth. I resonate and harmonize with truth. I seek out and testify of truth.
Beautiful. I love that. I also want to appreciate you, Kathy, for saying that you were going to your dad with complete faith and love. And that helps me know the energy that I need to bring with my question as well. Thank you. I'm super grateful for this community. I'm really grateful for this, the way that we edify and support each other, and just for the love that's present here. So thank you all for being on the call today, for your contribution, whatever that was. And we'll look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And I just want to end with just sending out kind of a prayer that as we show up in gratitude and love and compassion and faith, especially, and hope, that our efforts will be rewarded, that God will hear our pleas. And I know that his hand is over all of us. And just, I'm so grateful that I'm not in charge, that he's the leader of us all, and that he has the ability to create decisive action based on the information that he has, and the information that we can give him from our hearts through prayer. And I just want to send out that intention that when we show up in faith and love and confidence and hope, that he will hear our pleas and orchestrate things to work out, that we can all come together in love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. We'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live,
go to my website, wileenbenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.